It's arguably the most significant invention to come out of Jamaica in the last 2 decades. A medical doctor, a mechanical engineer, and a computer scientist used technology to develop a way to train heart surgeons across the globe more efficiently. The heart simulator developed at the UWI Mona is now being used by several universities across the world to train surgeons. Professor Daniel Kaur, who worked on the project, says after shelving the first prototype and moving on to other projects, he and the other inventors involved received a call that would change everything.
So in late 2007, we hear from Dr. Richard Fiennes, who was at the time chairman of the American Board of Thoracic Surgery. He had seen a video that had been released along with a paper that we had published. And in the video, we were just showing a small clip of what the heart looked like while, in operation, in use. And he wrote to Dr. Ramphal, basically did a little internet search, tried to find him, sort of located an email address for him at UWI, by which time he had already left UWI, and wrote him and said, I saw this video, is it real? Because if that's real, I would love to come to UWI to see it, and would you be willing to set it up for us, because we are examining possible simulation environment scenarios for the cardiac surgery training, and this is something that we would like to sort of take a look at just to see what it can do and whether it's good for us.
After some persuasion, the team decided to go to the University of North Carolina to set up the prototype.
First time set up, right? So all these prominent heart surgeons had just come in to take a look at what's going on, and everybody was kind of blown away at just how realistic the heart beating was, and how realistic the whole environment was. So they took out the video footage and took that to their annual meeting that year at the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. And with that video at that meeting, just sort of, caught the eye of everybody who was at that symposium that year. And that ended up getting us invited to technology symposium for cardiothoracic surgery. And we got re-invited year after year.
Soon after that, the UWI Mona developed heart simulator was a sought-after tool when it came to training heart surgeons.
It then got to a point where other places wanted one. They kept saying, how can we get one of these at our institution? So it was kind of around that time, that was started around 2009, that we started talking about how to get multiple ones of these. And by around 2011, we'd actually built them. So in that interim, we had negotiations, sort of thought about how to sort of make it a little more structured and sort of help ourselves get to the point where we could be talking to people who might want a license.
The simulator then ended up in some of the top medical schools in North America, revolutionizing the way heart surgeons were being trained.
Harvard's Mass General Hospital, University of Rochester, there was a University of North Carolina, Johns Hopkins, Vanderbilt, Mayo Clinic, University of Washington, and Stanford.
This was the first time ever heart surgeons in training were being exposed to real-life circumstances.
Kind of what I mentioned before, where you might have the pig's heart in a bowl, or I suppose if you're working with a cadaver, which is going to be realistic, but it's a dead person, but nothing where the heart is, or actually a live pig. That is the closest that you could come if you wanted to get a full-blown operating room scenario where you are standing around, there's a apparently living, beating heart, and you have to give the right instructions, and you have somebody controlling a pump, somebody controlling anesthesia, and then you have your partner in front of you, you're supposed to be giving the right instructions, and you're learning not just the specific procedures, but also the management of your team. The only way you could really reconstruct that without having a real patient on the table was a live pig. That was the closest you could come. So what our simulator was providing these guys with was a context in which they could reconstruct any scenario they wanted, when they wanted, at the time they wanted. So from the purpose of teaching, if today's lesson was to teach you something that hardly ever happened, they could make sure it's scheduled what's going to happen, because you set the simulator up to deliver that. So for them, that was a great opportunity to change how training in cardiac surgery could work, right? And at the same time, you're getting this high fidelity model, right? So you're not putting any patients at risk. You have this model that looks real. It bleeds when you cut it. It has a pressure. It shows you a computer trace that looks like it's a real trace on a monitor. So for all intents and purposes, just because you set it up, you know it's not real. But for all intents and purposes, it looks like a patient on the table.
The heart simulator has not only used technology to totally revolutionize the way heart surgeons are trained, but it is also helping to better equip surgeons to deal with real-life situations in real time.
There are some well-rehearsed procedures, as in over time, they've developed some procedures to respond to a particular kind of emergency. But if you as a resident only get trained via the operating room, then the only scenarios that you become familiar with are the ones that you see. Now, of course, if you see 100 cases, 200 cases, then you start thinking, okay, you're ready, you're competent, you can go and you are going to be certified as capable of practice on your own. But what if the scenario that we're worried about isn't one that occurs so frequently? It might be 1 in 1,000 cases, it might be 1 in 2,000 cases. Those are still potentially life-threatening. You still want somebody who is going to now become an attending to know how to deal with them. And in the old situation, before our simulator, the only way they would have really gotten that exposure is through a textbook or somebody telling them, if you ever encounter this is what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of a hypothetical, and the response is really a kind of theoretical response, or it's a hypothetical one anyway. With a simulator, we can now say, okay, next week's lesson going to be how you deal with this. And I can tell you what you must do, and I can set up the simulator to make that emergency occur. So while you're doing your thing, suddenly something happens and you say, what's going on? And it's for you to A, recognize that there's that emergency going on, and then B, act appropriately. So you can actually now practice that, which is not something that you could have done easily before.
The heart simulator is the first UE patent to be commercialized, and with the recent commitment from Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke to pump more government resources into research and development, it is hoped that more patented inventions coming out of the University of the West Indies can be commercialized.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Welcome to Business Access Television's highlights package of the symbolic signing of Jamaica's Foreign Exchange Code of Conduct.
Governor Brian Winter, Senior Deputy Governor John Robinson, Deputy Governors Wayne Robinson, newly elected JBA President Mr. Jerome Smalling, President of the Cambia Association of Jamaica Heather Ferguson, Executive Director of the Jamaica Institute of Financial Services Darlene Jones, other distinguished guests, members of the press, good morning and welcome to Bank of Jamaica for the symbolic signing of the BIS FX Global Code by the respective presidents of the JBA and CAG. The adoption of this code by the authorized dealers and large cambios is another significant step in the FX market reform process, which began back in July 2017. Since then, BOJ has implemented a series of reforms aimed at improving efficiency and transparency, to include the implementation of BFIXIT, that's the Bank of Jamaica Foreign Exchange Intervention Trading Tool, whereby the bank intervenes through select participants in the foreign exchange market via an auction process. Secondly, the implementation of FX net open position limits for authorized dealers and FX position limits for cambios, to ensure soundness and efficiency in the foreign exchange markets and mitigate risk-taking by the players. Improving market intelligence through daily market chats and enhanced reporting requirements to include counterparty name and TRN for large value transactions. The establishment of a foreign exchange market development committee chaired by the governor, and this enables cross-fertilization of ideas of all players in the industry. And of course, getting the conversation started on FX hedging products, such as forwards. At this time, on behalf of the governor, I'd like to extend appreciation to the authorized dealers and cambios for your tremendous support in making the reforms thus far a success. Colleagues, there's more to come as we eagerly await the implementation of the foreign exchange trading platform in early 2020. So without further ado, I now turn over to our esteemed governor, Mr. Brian Winter, for his remarks.
Thank you, Natalie, and I would like to say a special welcome to everybody this morning. It's very good to see you all here for this extremely I think a long-awaited, a timely, and a very important step forward for Jamaica in its economic development. I'm especially pleased to be here today as we recognize the adoption of the BIS Foreign Exchange Global Code by the foreign exchange market intermediaries in Jamaica. The Global Code provides a common set of guidelines to promote the integrity, the transparency, and the effective functioning of the foreign exchange market, which is a vital part of the global financial system and has a turnover of more than $5 trillion every single day. The adoption of the Global Code is one of the reforms to the foreign exchange market that we began in mid-2017, and it was aimed at enhancing the efficiency of the financial markets in Jamaica. That is how financial markets best serve the markets in goods and services, which is where Jamaicans will be employed and be able to grow their wealth, will be able to develop themselves, will be able to contribute to the building of Jamaica. The code the symbolic signing today by the representatives of by the respective presidents, I should say, of the Bankers Association and of the Cambio Association of Jamaica confirms that their members have signed the Global Code, indicating their commitment to its 6 leading areas of principle, namely ethics, governance, execution, information sharing, risk management and compliance, and the confirmation and settlement processes. This historic signing reflects our aims for Jamaica to have a robust, fair, liquid, open, and transparent market for foreign exchange. As Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, I am very happy for what we have been able to accomplish in reaching this stage. We are confident that this move will support an improvement in the public's faith in the foreign exchange market. And now that we are a part of the global code, this is a signal that Jamaica is open and ready for business. It's now incumbent on each foreign exchange dealer or cambio to follow through on their commitment to adopt the principles that Jamaica's foreign exchange market has signed up to. My expectation is that those who wish to compete in the foreign exchange market will be able to enjoy success once they follow the principles that we are here establishing today. I'd like to now welcome Ms. Darlene Jones, Executive Director of GIFS, who will speak to us on the importance of that institution in building capacity for intermediaries in implementing the code. Before I end my remarks, I just want to thank you all for coming as we remain committed to Jamaica becoming the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thank you, everyone.
GIFS is extremely proud to be a part of today's momentous occasion, signifying the commitment to integrity and professional standards at the highest level. We feel that this is part of the evolution that the Minister of Finance spoke of at the recent symposium when he said that since we're operating in a market-driven FX market, it requires businesses and the financial institutions to evolve in order to exist. This is indeed a significant advancement in this process. As provider of internationally rated cutting-edge development opportunities for the financial services industry, our mandate is to ensure that the industry is supplied with highly trained and agile cadre of talent to support industry growth. GIFS is therefore pleased to be a support of this milestone with the offering of the FX Global Code Certification Program, which is being offered in collaboration with the Global Association, ACI Financial Markets. This program will enhance our buoyant FX industry with a cadre of certified financial markets professionals qualified to execute at the highest level of efficacy. The program has been designed to ensure practical working knowledge, and I am emphasizing practical working knowledge, advocated by the principles of the code, with emphasis on the application of high standards of integrity, conduct, and professionalism, with the understanding of why adherence to the market participants to the code is important. We had a first sitting of certification exams in June, and we're now recruiting for the second cohort, which commences in September. We expect to have annual certifications. Persons would need to certify annually, and thereafter with the expectation that this program will become mandatory for the financial markets professionals. Of course, we intend to continue the path by offering supportive programs. We are also in discussions with ACI to offer a dealing certificate. So we commend the FX Working Committee on the direction of the Central Bank on this milestone on agreeing to the principles of the code. This signing by the relevant stakeholders is indicative of Jamaica's commitment to a successful FX industry, one that is comparable to international standards. And GIFS is truly committed to our mission to ensure the continuous building of human and organizational capabilities through research and professional development of knowledgeable, ethical, proactive, customer-driven financial services sector. And we look forward to our continued collaboration in this regard. Thank you so much.
It's now time for what we came here to see, the symbolic signing of the code by the respective presidents.
Thanks for watching Business Access Television's highlights package of the symbolic signing of Jamaica's Foreign Exchange Code of Conduct. Pleasant viewing.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Wealth Magazine is back at it again with Corporate Mingle. Today we're here at the Reggae Mill Bar, where executives, creatives, entrepreneurs are here to mix and mingle. I'm your host, Amita Pasadwe. Please stay tuned for highlights.
Thank you to the team from Wealth, and thank you for you being here. We're here to introduce you to the newest way to deal with Western Union. This is the way of the future. This is how you will be handling your Western Union business going forward. It's called westernunion.com.
Grace Kennedy Money Services is in partnership with CME today here at Corporate Mingle. Talk to me about that.
So, Grace Kennedy Money Services is the home of Western Union, Bill Express, FX Trader. Today we're here with CME because we have an exciting new product to push, and this is the ideal target audience or corporates. Because you know what? Corporate people, they're always on the go, they're always moving, they don't have time sometimes to just get to a Western Union location to do their business. So we have a platform where they can stay wherever they are as long as they have an internet connection and they can send a money transfer. That's why we're here, we're pushing that. So woo.com is the name of the website, and it allows you to send a money transfer to anywhere in Jamaica or to 200 countries across the world. Wherever a Western Union location is, you can send a money transfer. You need to send some money, you need to send it fast. Register, go on woo.com, send it. All you have, the only money you spent is that money that you're trying to send. That's it. No credit card fees, no processing fees, no transfer fees, nothing. Zero. And you have to be registered. It's a registered service. Part of registration that you have to do, you start online. But you have to satisfy our own Jamaican regulations, Bank of Jamaica regulations. You have to go into a location with your ID that you registered with to validate. And that's it. All we need to do is to be able to see your ID, see you, and know that you are who this ID is. That's it. Once once you've been validated, you never have to go back into a location to receive money ever again.
It's Corporate Mingle Networking with a Purpose. We're here today at the Reggae Mill Bar. Talk to us about what's happening.
All right, so this is our fourth staging of the Corporate Mingle, and this is the first time actually coming to this location. We have a mixed crowd because we have Bumblebee as a sponsor. We have Grace Kennedy, Western Union, Business Access TV, and of course, Adam and Eve Day Spa. So we have a very mixed crowd. We have mature, younger persons here. It's always a new venue, so we can try something new so persons don't get used to the same venue and it's always here again. It's always a new place, preferably somewhere hip, as you see Reggae Mill is where all the festivities happening now for the young people. We have different networking games. We have our wonderful host, as usual, Amisa. So we try to keep it interactive, get persons involved, talking to each other, mingling, networking. Of course, drinks flowing, so people flowing, conversations flowing.
So talk to us a little bit in regards to what exactly it is that Bumblebee does.
So Bumblebee is a digital media agency, so we look at what is, we can consider traditional digital media, which is the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitter and Google, of course, but we are also into programmatic, and definitely the leading thing product that we offer is Wi-Fi advertising, which is new to Jamaica. So we are partners with Gross Tech, and they are committed to making Wi-Fi like oxygen. So we are committed to helping brands build brand loyalty by helping to make Wi-Fi like oxygen, by partnering and sponsoring that Wi-Fi. So we're the leaders in that regard. We have amazing click-through rates, which is above every other digital platform that is currently here. So we are seeing click-through rates of between 10 and 30% and lead generations of over 30%, which is not heard of in the region. So this is really something big that brands can and should get into.
I've been here for a very long time. We've been building our product for the past 3 years, and I've been coming here, building networks, building my social network. So this is not my first time. I've been here.
Tell me about your business, Intranet Solutions.
Intranet Solutions, we offer social Wi-Fi to businesses. So instead of persons signing in with a passcode, they use their social media handles. So they use Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whichever handle is there at the time. Once persons sign in, companies get their demographic information because they would have approved and allowed for you to get that information. So it's a way to build on your marketing list and a way to improve your business overall.
Talk to me about O'Shane Bryant Fitness.
All right, so O'Shane Bryant Fitness, we don't have a fixed location. We're predominantly at UWI Mona campus, but of course we're a fitness entity that's geared towards giving Jamaica the most affordable health and fitness lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and not a fat thing.
Well, it's my second time coming to a mingle. I'm really enjoying it. Perfect place to mingle, to get your business out there and learn about your peers and what's going on.
It's that time where we bid you farewell. Thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV and our coverage of Corporate Mingle here at the Reggae Mill Bar. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
It's Friday, and you just tuned in to Jamaica's most informative program, Jamaica Magazine. It's good to see you. We have a packed program lined up, so stick around.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, because we ready for the ops. Drive up on your block, step out now the block, cyber take a boy your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence a drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Things say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Things say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA, MOCA.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, August 23. The Agriculture Ministry is moving swiftly to assist approximately 47 farmers who were affected by fire in Flagaman, St. Elizabeth last Friday. The ministry will be providing topsoil, grass, seeds, fertilizer, and sprays. Minister without portfolio in the Agriculture Ministry, J.C. Hutchinson, made the announcement after touring the affected areas. He has also pledged a donation of $500,000 initially provided to support drought mitigation efforts in his St. Elizabeth Northwestern constituency. The money will now go to the farmers of Flagaman in St. Elizabeth as part of the recovery effort. Minister Hutchinson explains that the northern section of the parish, including his constituency, was receiving more rainfall than the southern belt and was therefore in a position to donate the funds, which came from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation's Drought Mitigation Program. The massive fire started on the Friday morning of August 16, impacting approximately 200 acres of land. It spread to several sections of the farming belt, destroying crops such as melon and cantaloupe, as well as farming equipment. Preliminary losses are estimated at $45 million. The regulations to support the rollout of the Tourism Workers' Pension Bill is to be completed by January. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says work on the draft is far advanced and should be tabled in Parliament soon.
I'm committing to have that ready in time for the next sessions of Parliament, so that come September, the regulations should be ready to go to Parliament sometime during that month.
Minister Bartlett says once the regulations have been accepted, the next step is to appoint a board of trustees to the pension scheme. Following this will be the procurement of a fund manager and fund administrator to manage the operations of the scheme.
We need to ensure it is very well managed and that we get the best returns possible, so the scheme will be viable and will grow over time.
The permanent secretary and the minister were speaking at a recent JIS think tank. Meanwhile, the ministry is reporting that tremendous interest is being generated among members of the sector from its public education campaign on the Tourism Workers' Pension Fund. Permanent Secretary Jennifer Griffith says in addition to media adverts and town hall meetings, the campaign is facilitating one-on-one consultations with all tourism subsectors.
So far we have been getting very good attendance, very good questions, great interest. And we are heartened that what we're doing is something that is very desirable and needed in the sector. And so we'll continue with our public awareness campaign.
Minister Edmund Bartlett says a coordinator will soon be appointed to the pension fund to undertake the sensitization process.
That will be responsible now for going out there, doing the legwork across the island to ensure that people understand, but most importantly, that they sign up. Because we want full participation immediately as the scheme is established.
The Tourism Workers' Pension Act was passed in Parliament in June and seeks to establish a defined contribution pension scheme for over 300,000 hospitality industry workers. The National Water Commission, NWC, has begun a customer census mapping project in St. Anne. It involves a door-to-door survey and a GPS mapping of existing and potential NWC customers. The project is expected to improve the Commission's water and wastewater services while increasing the agency's responsiveness to current and future customers. Project activities will be done from Mondays to Fridays between 6:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. and on Saturdays and Sundays between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. In Phase 1 of the project, activities will be targeted at communities including Miami Bay Estate, Steertown Housing Scheme, Chalky Hill, and Malvern Park Pen Housing Scheme. Residents of Davistown, Lidford, Steertown, Golden Grove, Black Stonehenge, and Monigue will also be reached. Already, the NWC Customer Census Mapping Project has been completed in the parishes of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, and Manchester. And finally, over 1,500 children across the island benefited from a program of activities put on by the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF this summer. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says the summer camps are part of a broader program to build peace and good relationships between citizens and the police. He was speaking at the recent closing ceremony for one of the camps held at the Salt Spring Primary School in St. James. Over 100 children benefited from that 4-week camp, which focused on character building and personal development.
We, as the JCF, really appreciate, as the police, the sort of commitment that the community has made to peace and building the relationship that we have over the past few months tried to build in Salt Spring.
Major General Anderson says the relationship building process will continue over the long term and replicated in other communities and parishes.
In September, we'll be sending some 24 school resource officers into various schools to develop and build that relationship between the police and schools, some 30 schools in St. James. We will expand both our breakfast program and our homework program in conjunction with those partners and new partners who want to get involved.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We want our children to understand the importance of physical activity. Based on our Jamaica Lifestyle Survey, 82% is in low-level activity, meaning we're just doing enough to survive. And only 16% is in moderate and 2% in high-level intensity. So we want to get more person in moderate and vigorous activity. And so we want to encourage them to be more active so that they can get a lot of benefits. Increase academics performance, reduce stress, reduce weight loss, beautiful skin, help you to sleep better. We want it to be more active so that we can have a healthy mind and a healthy body.
Creating jewelry has always been an important part of our culture, whether from beads, metal, paper, or just about anything we can find in our environment. Here are some examples of Jamaica's most talented local jewelry creators.
Droplets of beads, creatively designed metals, painted wood, all handcrafted to adorn the neck, face, or limbs. Made from natural resources found on the island, local costume jewelers are designing a niche for economic empowerment.
Natural handbands. These are like from Lucky Seeds and RSI, and these bracelet is from copper with seed mixed in. And we have bamboo handband. We have leather handband over here. And we have wallets, sandals, and pipes and chalices. Natural, all handmade right here in Jamaica. I'm doing this business for over 40 years now. I've traveled all over the world, and this is the business that I do. This is my living, and I'm very proud of it. I was working at the post office for 18 years, but in the 18 years at the post office, I learned this trade. I'm self-taught. That's what I love about this. I think about a creative piece and I manifest it with my hands. And that's what I love about it, manifesting what I think.
So we have two lines here. We have one called the Heavenlies, and then we also have another line that's completely made out of paper, crafted from scratch, hand-painted by a fine artist and varnished. And that one is called Inspired by Nature. And if you look at it, you'll see things that remind you of sunsets or hillsides and mountainous reliefs and fruits and flowers. We have some freshwater pearls, we have shells, we have upcycled, I would say, materials that we used to make the earrings, so paper. So, and we do a lot of seeds and shells. I work a lot with shells. So those sorts of things.
I'm telling you this, we don't know how rich we are. We're a very rich country. I'd love if we could concentrate on developing our skills and using our local product and advance. We are so rich that it's confusing sometimes to see what we're doing, so much stupid things. Killing each other, robbing each other. We don't have to do that. We have everything here. So we need to just concentrate and focus and be positive and use the things that we have, because we have a lot.
Just be more mindful of what you're doing every day and what you're using every day, you know. Paper instead of plastic, that's kind of, you know, the stereotypical answer, but really thinking about where you're buying your products. Are you buying things that are locally made? Are you buying things that are imported more than the locally made?
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the four corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. You know, your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, you know, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it, cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
There are only a few more days left before the new school year begins. And if you're like me, you just can't wait to get those final road trips in. If you're searching for some travel ideas, this next feature is all you need. The parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew have something and somewhere for everyone.
I am on the southeastern end of the island, washed by the Caribbean Sea, bounded by St. Andrew to the east, west, and the north. I may be little, but guess what? Me talawa. So this isn't really about the history of Kingston, but if it was, I'd tell you that it's been crafted from beneath our shores and extends across the harbor further inland, where the musical beats of ska, reggae, and mento were formed.
The music industry has been quite well documented, and to my recollection, it started more of an effort to play music that other people couldn't play than as an industry. It kind of unearthed that spirit, that creative spirit in Jamaican, and we broke all of the recording rules, but we came up with a product that kind of represented the kind of Jamaican spirit, and that indomitable spirit. And it gave a sort of voice or expression to our Africanness. From the 70s, 80s, 90s, Jamaica celebrated a number of great icons. You know, we're talking about the Ernest Smiths, the Pluto Shervintons, the Dennis Browns, you know, the Gregory Isaacs, the Alton Ellis. And then we get into the Megastar region, the Jimmy Cliffs and the Peter Tosh, and then the Bob Marleys. Reggae is the soundtrack of our lives, you know. Reggae is of us, about us, with us, and it has remained true to us as a Jamaican expression. Over there.
Oh my God. What? I remember the link. So after that tubs of knowledge about Kingston's musical history, you must be hungry. So come, we'll go down a town. It is commonly believed that Coronation Market is located on an old African burial ground and was called Duppy Market before being given its royal name.
Coronation Market, we have melon over here, we have other things, variety. So you can come down and get fruits, vegetables, scallion, onion over there, you name it. Reasonable at a reasonable cost.
Thank you. Bad piece of soup, yeah. If you thought it was only food being offered here in downtown Kingston, then guess again. Do you remember when I told you earlier that Kingston was bordered by St. Andrew? Well, it's time to cross that border and explore the other side. Jamaica is famous for its Blue Mountain grade of coffee, and right now we're at one of the first coffee estates that was founded in the late 1700s. Welcome to Clydesdale.
It's always been an interesting place because the place is full of history, but it's also very interesting from the point of the environment and nature. There's a swimming hole near here where I've been going to swim, and whenever people visit, we always make a trip to Clydesdale. This is the mill house, and there's a vertical water wheel at the other end of the building, outside of the building, that the stream turned, and we can see the remains of the horizontal water wheel that was connected to the water wheel that had the millstones, I think, to grind the coffee. The other interesting feature is that the roof is constructed. You can see the load of the roof comes down to the center as well as out to the walls, and the verticals came down and carried the load through the beams and down through the columns to the ground. This seems to be the residence, and I say that because there's an obvious kitchen area, which is an outside cooking area that's set up with stove and so on. There's a herb garden outside. Inside here you see the remains of toilets and basins. You need to step carefully and watch out for rusty nails. There's a fireplace, which is an upstairs and downstairs fireplace.
Clydesdale is a nice place. The environment, the climate, the river them, you know, it's nice, and you come by Clydesdale and you can just sit in you can absorb a fresher breath. For them say by the tree, you live more healthier.
We've been having so much fun today, and our time together is almost over. But before it does, I have a surprise just for you. I bet you thought that was a surprise, but nope, we're not there yet, so let's keep going. Nestled in the hills of St. Andrew in the Bowden district, opposite the Hermitage Dam, it's the scenic Falling Edge Waterfalls. Let's go. Do I go to the right or do I go to the left? Guys, take the left. I
hope you had a great time on the scenic tour of Kingston and St. Andrew. Don't just sit and watch it on your TV. Go on out and explore. These and other parishes await.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running. Because we ready for the ops. Drive up on your block. Step out now me block. Cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock. No evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for. Look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for. Look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
Did you know that if someone has died and did not leave a will, you must report it to the Administrator General's Department? If they have also left children under the age of 18 or assets such as property, bank accounts, and motor vehicle, this next feature will give you all the information you need to report the death.
Yo, Kevin, what going? You know play ball with the man them?
Yo, you know, say I think happened to me the other day, my youth. Have me away, I'm never gonna lie to you.
What happened?
You know, some of them stressed out and I grieve. You know my brother John?
Yeah.
You know, so the man say him sick, and we carry him to the hospital. And the man just dead, so. Dead left him daughter, no will. Yeah, and him two daughter, them called Ashley at 9 and Gabriel at 13, so we really don't know what to do.
Boy, sorry for hear that, you know. You never have no will?
Yo, I just said that already, man. Yo, man no left no will. If him did left a will, would I know what to do. I really don't know what to do.
So him never have house, car, bank account? You must at least NHT contribution.
Yo, if I tell you the truth, my brother very secretive. So I really don't know. I just know the fact say he's a teacher, and I know them pay him through the bank, so he would have a bank account. I know him to buy a house last year. The car where him have, I never know if I fee him. So I really don't know. That may I say if in the left a will, would I really know where him have or what to do. But we really don't know what to do.
No, I did hear upon the radio still, Administrator General's Department deal with them matter there, you know.
Administrator General's Department. What them do really? What them really do?
Well, government office, man. Them, whenever people dead without will and them have kids under 18, them deal with the assets.
So you say Administrator General's Department, them deal with them thing there? Push for the Administrator General's Department there.
12 Ocean Boulevard.
Yeah, but I really like to go down there still and find out from them what them can do, because I tell us so we really don't know what to do. I tell you the truth.
Follow them play some ball, man. Before they go down there tomorrow.
Respect.
That's right. If someone dies and did not leave a will, leaving children under the age of 18 years old and have assets such as property, bank accounts, and motor vehicle, you must report the death of the person to the Administrator General's Department.
Good morning, gentlemen. How may I help you?
Hello, good morning. I have a situation, I hope you can help me. My brother died last week, and I don't know what to do.
Did he leave a will?
No, he didn't leave a will.
Okay, I'm going to ask that you complete this document for us.
To process the report of a death, you will need to complete a form of particulars witnessed by a justice of the peace or a notary public. You also have to submit an original death certificate, proof that you're related to the deceased, for example, birth certificate, marriage certificate, proof of assets such as bank passbook, land ownership documents, share certificates, motor vehicle documents, insurance policies, certificate of deposit.
You will also need to provide a small sum towards administration expenses if no cash is left by the deceased. Before reporting a death, you can visit our offices for further information. In Kingston, 3rd floor at the Office Center Building, 12 Ocean Boulevard, or call us 922-183023. You can also visit our Western office at the 2nd floor of the National Housing Trust Building at 42B Union Street, Montego Bay, St. James. Telephone 630-4261. Our website is at www.agd.gov.jm. That's the Administrator General's Department, securing your legacy.
Speeding through life and the traffic lights till somebody get hurt and the tears start cry. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives. Make the road safe whether day or night, for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives.
Hey man, it's our job to keep the road them safe. Have to take care of the youth them so we know them safe. And obey the road code, don't race. No bother with the speeding, cause make face. And check your light them on your tires and brakes. Riders on the pillions who left the helmet. Aye, put on the cell phone, no send no text. No matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, it could save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt for keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me. Well, everybody drive good and walk good. Then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good. And put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good. And we say young and old, I beg you cross good. Remember the dark close at night, that is not good. From you I use up the sidewalk, it's all good.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you could save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road. When you're on the road, when you're on the road.
And this is the final stop in today's magazine. Thanks for joining with us. To watch today's program again, simply visit our website, jis.gov.jm. Don't forget that you're able to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Sandra. Have a wonderful weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
On this episode of Chill Spot, we'll be enjoying the thrill and excitement of the outdoors at Chukka Caribbean Adventure Tours as we get to know Dr. Kevin Henry, obstetrician and gynecologist. So don't go anywhere, the fun begins now. Hi guys, hi Kevin,
Kelly.
good to see you.
How are you?
I'm fine.
This is my friend Che.
Hi Che, nice to meet you. So how was the drive down?
It was good. It was pretty long, but I mean, we're here, you know. So you have a new ride.
Yes, my Toyota Hilux. This is a fully loaded model, and on the drive down it's like I didn't need anything else. It's the perfect vehicle and it rides so nicely.
Oh, it looks really, really
yeah,
good.
nice, smooth ride. Yeah, the color is nice in the red.
Yeah.
So, Chukka Tours.
Yeah.
What are we going to be doing today?
Well, it should be a fun day, you know, lots of adventure. We're going to be doing some zip lining, we're going to do the ATV tour.
Okay.
And then we'll just chill, have lunch, and relax.
Personally, I'm not excited about the zip line thing. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be
Shit,
fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be so fast and I can't.
No, man, it's going to be fun. First time doing it?
Well, it's actually my first time at Chukka. So I've ziplined before, but I've never ziplined here. This one is longer,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's a little bit more intense.
Gosh,
It's a little bit more intense. Get
So-
that adrenaline rush.
Let's start. Where are we going to start?
Let's go.
So Dane, talk to us about Chukka Tours and the history of the brand.
Chukka has been around for over 30 years. We started in Ocho Rios
Okay.
with our signature tour, which is a horseback ride and swim. But since then, Chukka had expanded its brands to 3 different Caribbean islands, and we have over 28 different tours here.
How
on this
many
island.
properties do you have in Jamaica?
We have 9 properties in total in Jamaica, this being one of the largest here at
Right.
Good Hope.
So what other tours? I mean, Kevin already mentioned that we're going to be doing zip lining and ATVing today, but what other tours can people do on this property?
There's an obstacle course where you can test your skills up there, the different types of elements. We have river tubing. We also have a horse and carriage ride for those persons who want to stay away from a lot of the thrill and just kind of relax.
Right.
And not to mention the dune buggy.
Well, the horse and carriage sounds perfect for me because I'm really not into the adrenaline thing at all and not excited about this zip lining thing, but I know it will be fun, right guys?
Of course it will be. So that's a good thing. We have something here for everyone.
So what about the future plans for this property? What do you guys have in store for 2016 and beyond?
Now, Chukka, with the nature of the business that we're in, the company always try to expand to please its customers.
Right.
Right, so we cater for those persons that are looking for the thrill, those who want the cultural explorer, and those persons
like
who just
myself.
want to come here and relax at the pool, a leisure type of person.
Oh, there's a pool on property as well?
There is a pool on property.
Oh,
There's also a
fantastic.
nice bird aviary, so.
Oh, a bird aviary. Oh, interesting, interesting.
Now for this property in particular, we are looking at expanding to include some of the historic buildings that are here, which would be on the other side of this property.
Okay.
So there's a lot more to come, and as I said before, Chukka continues to grow and to please its customer out there based on their demand.
Okay, fantastic. Well, with no further ado, I think we should head inside and get this thing started.
it is really, really rewarding to be able to help people. Being in a position to bring somebody who is sick back to full health, it's something that I really love to do and that I enjoy.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we back down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com. Kevin, how was that zip line for you?
It was fun, you know. Oh, you're so afraid on the thing, man.
I'm telling you, that's not for TV either, no, that's genuinely me. I don't like
that was really fun. That was really fun.
It really was. So, we want to talk a little about your professional side.
Sure.
You're a practicing medical doctor.
I am.
And did you know that you always wanted to pursue medicine?
I think from an earlier age, I knew that I wanted to do something medically related. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a vet initially. And then somewhere along the line, that transitioned and changed into, you know, being a doctor. So when I was in high school, I decided, I think that this is what I want to do.
And are you specializing right now?
Yes, I am. I do obstetrics and gynecology.
So I understand that the process to become a doctor at UA is a long one. I know you guys have exams and residency. Explain to us how that all works.
Okay, so when you leave high school, right, having done the required usual science subjects, you start your medical career, your medical program at UA. That process is 5 years. After that, you'll graduate with your medical degree, which means you're a doctor now. Thereafter, you have to do 1 year internship where you work in the hospital, and then after that year, you know, get your practicing certificate, so you're now licensed to go and practice and set up your own thing if you want to do your own thing.
Okay.
In order for you to do a specialty, like what I did in obstetrics and gynecology or any other specialty, you then have to do further studies, which is whilst you work. So it's not, you know, go back to school and stop everything. So you're working and getting training at the same time. And depending on what that specialty is, it can take from 4 to a million years.
I understand, it would take a longer time. So for your specialty, how long did it take?
It was 4.5 years.
And then you have a final exam at the end of all of that?
We have continuous assessment throughout. So we have exams while we go along through the program. And then at the end, we have one final exam. And then once you get through that, that's it, you're done.
So all of that takes 70 years?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Well, Well, congratulations.
Thank you
you
very
recently
much.
passed your exam.
Yes, I
so now you're officially
an obstetrician and gynecologist.
okay, got it. So where are you currently practicing?
Well, I did my training at the University Hospital, so I'm continuing working there. And as well, I am now working privately at Gynae Associates.
And how has the experience at the University Hospital been for you?
It was a very fulfilling and rewarding experience. It was challenging at times, you know, especially with the workload and the patient demands. But overall, it was a humbling experience as well. You know, learned a lot in terms of my specialty and my field, and I'm happy now that with the training that I have, I can now go out and continue to work in the health sector, both publicly and privately. And overall, I really enjoyed it and I love what I do.
And what would you say is the best part or your favorite part about your job?
I know this is going to probably sound cliche, but really and truly, it is really, really rewarding to be able to help people, you know. Being in a position to bring somebody who is sick back to full health and, you know, in obstetrics carrying a patient through the antenatal process, you know, baby and delivery and that type of thing. It's really fulfilling and rewarding. So to be able to do that on a day-to-day basis, and as I said, it's something that I really love to do and that I enjoy. So that's what I like.
What are the challenges now with practicing medicine here in Jamaica or with your day-to-day operation?
The challenges practicing medicine, I would say, for me, are in terms of time management, right? So when you have a lot of activities to do and, you know, you have other things to attend to in terms of, you know, family time and friends, and it can be demanding. Medicine itself is a very demanding field. I think that the issues that we're facing now in Jamaica in terms of the health sector itself, as well as the financial constraints of, you know, everybody and, you know, people have no money to spend. But overall, I think that we are doing the best we can with the resources that we have, right? A lot of times it's a little bit difficult for patients to appreciate that. So when patients come to the hospital, you know, they look at things like the wait time and, you know, how attentive the doctors are, how quickly they can get their results processed, and how they're treated at the hospital. Overall, we're trying to improve, so it just requires a lot more patience and dedication on both parts.
And are there any other professional engagements that you do besides being a doctor?
Well, yes. I own or co-own a small business which does medical supplies, and I also do events. Okay. So those are my two other main activities, business-wise.
So talk to me about your medical supplies company. What's the name of it?
Well, it's White Coat Medical Supplies. It has actually been in existence for about 8 years, but me and a colleague inherited it from another partner about 2 years ago. So what we do is supply medical equipment to medical students. Medical students meaning students doing medicine, nursing, physiotherapy, that kind of thing. So that's what we're doing right now. But we do have plans to expand to do other things in terms of general medical equipment.
So is the business partner Che, who I met earlier?
Yes, it's Che.
Okay, so how do you draw the line with doing business with friends?
Well, that is something that we had established from very, very early, right? And it's very tricky with friends because, you know, you don't want to offend anybody or that type of thing, as you can imagine. But at the end of the day, it's a professional relationship. So you just have to understand that, you know, friendship is friendship and business is business. So where there are important business decisions to be made, we have to put aside the friendship part of our interaction and look at it as a business, right? So we just try not to let emotions get involved and address it professionally, right? Because that is what drives the business.
How would you describe, though, the business of medicine here in Jamaica? Would you say it's easy to open a practice? Are we heading in the right direction business-wise?
I think that in general, we have a lot of talent in Jamaica. There are a lot of trained professionals, a lot of specialists that we are putting out every year, every 6 months, right? So there definitely isn't a shortage, I would say, of specialists. The problem or the barriers to setting up businesses in Jamaica in medicine would be resources. That's the main problem. Resources both on the end of the doctor and of the patient, right? So if it is that we don't have enough resources in general as a country to be able to offer patients standard of care all the time in terms of, you know, the best equipment and the best technology and that type of thing, that can pose problematic. And then patients themselves may have difficulties paying for the treatment, right? But I do think that right now, the specialists that we have in Jamaica and the training that the doctors that are coming up, we would have adequate amount of specialists in the various areas and persons to work both in the public sector and private sector. What we need is more investment. So, you know, more resources from the public affiliates, private affiliates, overseas, that type of thing, to make business more successful right now in the medical field.
What would you say drives you to succeed as a young professional?
I like to work hard. I like to get the job done. I like to be effective in whatever it is that I do. I think that I am a stickler for attention to detail. I like when things are done properly and timely. That's my main motivator, that's my main drive.
What's one tip that you'd give to other young professionals coming up?
Well, there are several tips, there are several keys to success, right? You have to work hard. There's no way you're going to be successful if you don't work hard. You have to be dedicated, and especially if it's your business versus you working for somebody, you have to be fully committed and fully dedicated. The second thing I would advise is that you can't give up, right? If you truly believe in it and you think it is something that makes sense and can work, you can't give up when, you know, things might not be going as well, or, you know, you come across some form of hurdle or obstacle, because those will come along, but you have to be committed and have the endurance to overcome that. The third thing I would say is to definitely take advice, right? Do your research, listen to persons that have done it before, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And four, just keep your passion alive and keep your drive and be business smart, right? Make sure whatever it is you're doing is something that makes sense, and you've done thorough planning and investigations and the proper research to make sure that whatever it is that you are doing will be profitable and successful for you.
Well, now that we've gotten the zip lining out of the way, we're going to be doing
ATV riding.
Okay, well, I've never done this before.
Really fun. Huh? You will see.
Hectic.
You will see.
Oh gosh.
You will see.
All right. Well,
let's go.
Let's go.
Alrighty.
Coming up. Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
This brake control all four wheels of the bike.
Okay.
It also uses a parking brake. See? Secondly, this is a gas right here. This is what keeps the units going.
What?
Yes. It's not like one of the room type.
Okay.
If you come like this,
Alright.
it's not gonna move.
No room in it.
Yeah. The thumb
So
shocker.
that's how we get.
Yeah, the
Alright, that's how we get.
push it, the faster the bike gonna go. P is for park, R is for reverse, N is for neutral, L is for low gear, and H is for high gear.
Okay.
So once I place in high gear like that for you, that's it. Stays in high gear.
Okay. All right, Kevin, so I want to talk about your personal life, so to speak.
Interesting, okay.
Let's start with your childhood.
Okay.
How were you raised?
Well, I was raised in a nuclear family, right? Both of my parents, and I grew up with my parents, and I have a younger brother.
Okay.
Happy family, you know.
Normal.
Normal family.
What
Yeah.
schools did you go to?
I went to Stella Maris Prep. Then I went to the best high school, Campion College.
I mean, others would beg to
Non-debatable,
differ.
non-debatable. Right? After that, I went to UA.
You're not from here, you're an
I'm from
accent.
Trinidad actually, yes.
Oh, okay.
I came and we started med school. He was 1 year ahead of me, started in 2004.
Okay.
Stop giving out the age, bro.
We've been friends for
At least 10 years.
at least 10 years.
Right. So, Kevin, are you dating right now?
I am. I do have a girlfriend.
Tell us a little about her.
Well, we've been together for a number of years now. Loving, caring, wonderful person. She's also a young business entrepreneur.
Okay.
So that's something that I really admire about her. And I guess, you know, we bounce ideas off each other with respect to that.
So, any plans for the future where that's concerned? Hint, hint,
Well,
hint.
we'll see. But, you know, definitely at some point in the future, I do want to get married. I do want to have children,
Hold
start my
on.
own family.
Che, do you see him walking down the aisle?
He's a good guy. I can see it, I can see it.
In time, man. In time. In time. Everything in time.
So what are your other interests? What are the things that you do for fun now that you have so many things going on with your professional life?
Well, for fun, I do events, right?
Okay.
Which is also business as well, but that's really fun for me.
Okay.
In addition to that, watch TV. I love football, so I watch a lot of football. I love hanging out with my friends. I love to joke, right? those persons that are close to me will know that that's me. I'm forever being a comedian,
Right.
so
Jovial.
that's what I love to do. And I like this type of stuff, outdoor
Right.
activities, adventure stuff. So that's what I do for fun.
Kevin, what's one thing that we'd never guess about? You know what, let me ask Che this question. Che, what's one thing that persons would never guess about Kevin?
Well, no, I can't say that. He actually stopped drinking
I think we
alcohol.
want the juicy stuff, you know.
No. He stopped drinking alcohol about 5-6 years ago.
So you don't drink at all?
Kind of stopped, but yeah.
Just
I had to,
socially?
I had to.
What is that? Some kind of medical reason?
Yeah, kind of, but it was tough, but yeah. I guess a lot of people would know about that.
You host parties, so this is a part of the lifestyle and you don't drink.
So you can imagine it's very
tricky.
It's tricky, you know?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I am extremely hungry
Yeah,
right
man,
now.
I'm
So lunch
starving.
is right over there. Let's go.
Let's go. So Kendi, what do you think about my chill spot?
To be frank with you, this property is a lot more elaborate than I thought it was initially. I literally thought Choco just had the tours without these like actual spots to chill and hang out. And it's been a lovely day, really fun, a nice mix of fun and adventure and some relaxation.
So you come back again then?
Of course, definitely, in a heartbeat. I wouldn't zip line again though. Thank you so much for bringing us to Choco. It was an amazing day. I
No
really had a
problem,
good time.
anytime.
So thank you very much.
No problem.
At Choco, it's always time to play, and today we most certainly did that whilst getting to know the dynamic Dr. Kevin Henry. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and until next time, I'm Candy for Chill Spot. Bye.
It's a little bit more intense.
All right,
Get
so
that adrenaline rush.
let's start. Where are we gonna start?
Let's go.
Let's just walk out to the shop. I don't know where we're walking to.
So Kendi, what do you think about my chill spot?
Some food just for my mouth.
So what? One more time.
My mouth, sorry. Let's get it. Hey!
Who we missed?
I missed. On the front one.
Yo, please don't put that on.
A place in high gear like that for you.
That's it.
Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, man?
All right.
Yeah, man.
Not me and the Tory.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art,
My life turns art, I breathe, I eat art.
fashion, food,
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
music, film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
culture galore in Trinidad and Tobago as CARIFESTA begins. Interim Pro Vice Chancellor appointed for the University of the West Indies' new Five Islands campus in Antigua and Barbuda. CARICOM and Africa to strengthen ties. Welcome to this week's edition of the CARICOM News Highlights. I am Michelle Nurse. Welcome to the program. CARIFESTA got off to a rousing start on Friday in Carnival Country, Trinidad and Tobago. Months-long planning and preparation and last-minute frenetic activity all came together for opening night in the Queen's Park Savannah. Activities will continue across Trinidad and Tobago until the 25th of August. Our own Jacine Dunkley Malcolm is on the ground in Trinidad and Tobago.
So we're here to represent North America as part of this festival.
Well, we are representing the 6 ethnic heritage that we have in Guyana, and we're hoping to display each one of them as much as we could.
It's Haiti traditions, okay, and living traditions. Haiti memories and living traditions. The living traditions, we have our King Henri Christophe here and his queen, and he built the biggest castle in the world. And so we're showing our traditions by the way they dress, traditional garb, and then you can see that our dances, our music, everything is very lively, our living tradition. So we're celebrating both.
This is the Caribbean, the home of Carnival and the home of Carifesta. You can feel the vibes, you can feel the energy in the street. Now I'll hand you back over to Jacine.
Hey, red, black and white. Hey, energy in my mind. Well, yeah, it's a coming together.
Thanks, Shaquille. Based on your account, the parade gave a wonderful display of camaraderie, fun, and excitement that can only be found at Carifesta. The opening ceremony was, of course, no different. In fact, patrons were treated to a spectacular display of elaborate performances, paying homage to the culture and customs of CARICOM member states and associate members. The official aspect of the evening's proceedings included remarks from the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, the Honorable Nyan Gadsby Dolly, and CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque. The CARICOM Secretary General, in his remarks, thanked those involved in the planning and execution of the event.
I wish to commend the hard-working team who constitute the host country management committee, led by the dynamic Minister of Culture, the Honorable Nyan Gadsby Dolly, for their dedicated and tireless work over the past 2 years to ensure that Carifesta 14 is a resounding success and one we will all enjoy immensely.
Prime Minister Rowley, after welcoming everyone to his country, said Carifesta could not have been better placed on the calendar of Trinidad and Tobago, as it was happening right after emancipation and just before their Independence Day celebrations.
It's a showcase of our food, our dance, our song, our artists, our intellect, and our indomitable Caribbean spirit.
Minister Gadsby Dolly said planning Carifesta 14 has been an exhilarating experience for her and encouraged participants to enjoy the event.
I invite you to open your minds and souls to the resplendence of this region's most prolific cultural expression. Allow the memories of Carifesta 14 to overwhelm your senses, inspire your creativity, challenge your intellect, and take you to a higher state of existence.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Trinbago Carifesta if all of the countries didn't cross the stage in true carnival style. That's it for the opening night of Carifesta 14. If you want to keep abreast of the events, there's an app for that. Feel free to download it. Stay tuned to this space for more updates on the exciting happenings of Carifesta 14.
The University of the West Indies, the UWI, has appointed Professor Stafford Griffith as interim Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Principal of its Five Islands campus located in Antigua and Barbuda. His appointment took effect from the 15th of August until the 31st of July 2020. Professor Griffith will lead the campus for its initial year of operation, which is expected to welcome its first cohort of students next month. An official launch of the campus with the UWI Executive Management Team is also planned for September. The Five Islands campus was established to provide a development platform for Antigua and Barbuda. It will also function as a hub for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States and will expand the UWI's regional capacity in the delivery of higher education for the 21st century. It will begin with 3 schools: the School of Health and Behavioral Sciences, the School of Management, Sciences and Technology, and the School of Humanities and Education. Professor Griffith previously served as Regional Director of the University's Office of Online Learning, Director of the UWI School of Education, and Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education at the Mona campus. He has spent more than 35 years of his career at the professional and senior management levels in fields covering educational measurement and evaluation, program planning and management, curriculum development, and teaching. Vice-Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, announced the approval of the regional university's newest campus during a media conference held on Wednesday, the 26th of June this year. A series of meetings between the President of Kenya and CARICOM leaders concluded with decisions to strengthen relations between the Caribbean and Africa. President Uhuru Kenyatta paid state visits to Jamaica and Barbados earlier this month and held engagements with both Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Mia Mottley, Prime Minister Alan Chasney of St. Lucia, who is also the chairman of CARICOM, government ministers, the CARICOM Secretary General, and other regional stakeholders. Prime Minister Chasney subsequently announced that decisions were taken to boost ties with Africa. The decisions include the establishment of diplomatic presence in Ghana and Kenya and direct air links between the Caribbean and Africa. Efforts will be made to hold a CARICOM African Union Heads of Government Summit over the next 12 months, and the community and the African Union will shortly sign a memorandum of understanding establishing a framework for engagement and cooperation. The University of the West Indies will be undertaking student and faculty exchanges and joint education initiatives with the University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University. The CARICOM chairman said also that the Barbados and Kenya Chambers of Commerce and Industry will commence engagement and collaboration with each other. The CARICOM chair said that there was a commitment to resist any dividing of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific group of nations, as well as a commitment to use the grouping to undertake much closer South-South cooperation. For more details of these and other stories, visit the CARICOM Secretariat news site, today.caricom.org, or the CARICOM website at caricom.org. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.
Evelyn Harris is a maroon healer in Jamaica. She has spent decades making a living from her knowledge of Jamaican plants and their healing properties. The products she makes from these plants are in constant demand, and she's happy to be able to help others. She is symbolic of many persons in the Caribbean whose traditional knowledge is a rich and often unacknowledged resource.
You have to be curious to learn about herbs. This is dog's blood, and this one is good for infection or black tube. And this one is piaba, and the piaba is what good for women who's going through menopause.
She, like many others in the region, can share stories of how her knowledge has contributed to research without being properly credited or compensated. But all that will change as more Caribbean countries are getting on board with a Nagoya Protocol that will protect knowledge held by persons like Evelyn and will serve to preserve the natural resources she depends on. The Nagoya Protocol is an international agreement that focuses on the fair and equitable sharing of the benefits from the sustainable use of genetic resources. It is an agreement that researchers and prospective business developers that use the Caribbean's natural resources need to be aware of.
The Caribbean region has an abundant variety of marine and terrestrial biodiversity, including a high number of endemic species of flora and fauna. This richness is combined with a mix of cultures and traditional knowledge. Also, it is clear that Caribbean countries recognize the importance of their unique genetic resources and associated traditional knowledge, and at the same time know that sharing the benefits of the utilization of these resources can be a way to protect the rich natural resources and bring prosperity to Caribbean people.
The International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, in partnership with the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, and the Global Environment Facility, GEF, is working with regional governments, research institutions, and other partners in the Caribbean to support countries to promote the sustainable use of the region's resources.
The needs are envisioned at 3 levels. One is at local levels, working with local communities and indigenous groups. The second level is the national level, working mainly with government and key line agencies that are going to be somehow responsible to implement the protocol, that have competencies according to the national law and the international legislation. And the third level is the regional level, working with CARICOM, for example, with OECS, other regional bodies like tourism organizations or other pertinent bodies that has responsibilities as well in the provision of the Nagoya Protocol.
Regulations will also be established for prior informed consent to access resources and the negotiation of mutually agreed terms to maximize the benefits of the protocol.
The Nagoya Protocol specifically deals with the issue of access to genetic resources and the sharing of the benefits that are gained from those resources. Now, if you think about the issue of sustainable development, if you think about the issue of natural resource management, it is necessary for these countries, who in most cases are small island developing states or developing countries, they need resources to be able to protect these natural resources that we have, these genetic resources. And so any avenue that is going to assist with making sure that some of these benefits come back in order to sustainably use these resources is something that the IUCN is always interested in providing.
The Bahamas, for example, is a hotspot for access to genetic resources for research and development. But only in one case of successful commercialization has benefit sharing with a country on the basis of an ABS contract took place.
There is a soft coral, which is a wavy coral. It's harvested annually in the Bahamas. And an extract from that was the first source of chemicals which are used today in skin revitalizing anti-aging creams. One of the researchers from the University of California came to the Bahamas and discovered a class of compounds which have anti-inflammatory properties. Later on, over 100 products in the world have been developed from the extracts from this coral.
For practitioners such as Dr. Sylvia Mitchell, the protocol will change the way how local communities and indigenous people like the Amerindians, Maroons, and Rastafarians operate.
The indigenous and local communities have to be part of the process. A very important part that the Nagoya Protocol recognizes in this whole value chain is that there are local indigenous communities all over the biodiversity-rich areas that have, over many, many generations, developed recipes. And when you develop products in the end, many, many years later, creams, anti-cancer, whatever, many times that traditional knowledge has been taken into account, but it doesn't filter back to those local communities.
Several Caribbean countries have already started putting in the framework to benefit from the implementation of the Nagoya Protocol. In Guyana, certain key steps have been taken.
Guyana already had a system in place with regards to granting access to its genetic resources. And that system is basically done through the Environmental Protection Agency. We're the agency responsible for granting all access to persons coming into the country to do research. If persons want to enter a specific community to access a specific resource, they have to get the consent of that community. When that consent is received, what they do is they have to submit that to, we have Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs. And they would usually issue official permission saying the community has no objection with this person coming in to do such and such. When we have that, then we would issue our permit.
For Antigua and Barbuda, much has already been done, as these islands are in the process of depositing their ratification instrument.
This project will allow us to develop our regulations, to develop our policy, to set up our institutional infrastructure to now manage the issues. We don't know when any genetic materials and the associated traditional knowledge are being taken out of the country. We're not aware. It's only those people who will inform certain agencies or certain government agencies that they're taking them out. That only happens occasionally. But in instituting this Nagoya Protocol, in instituting our ABS regulations and policy, we'll be able to finally have a system to regulate this process.
The Nagoya Protocol is helping to preserve traditional knowledge that could be lost as elders die.
Over a period of time, people will come there, people have their complaints, people want to be treated for some ailments or whatever, and people just community folks will do what they have to do for them, but not necessarily telling them, you know, what is it I have done for you. Okay, if you come, you have a problem with your belly or your back or your shoulder or whatever, you will get the treatment for it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna know all the ingredients and stuff that goes into it. And even sometimes if people would probably show to you, you might see an ingredient or two that they use, but it would be probably the least important of the ingredient that you would have seen.
As the Caribbean embraces new opportunities to benefit from our biological resources, we look to the future.
I represent 11 parishes across the island which have a membership about 5,000. These are traditional farmers who have been growing marijuana illegally for years. Now that we are on the way to have a formal industry, we are working hard to allow standards to fit their needs as grassroots people while working with governments and agencies across the world.
The Nagoya Protocol is opening doors for Caribbean people.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 100, 50 will actually transfer and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process, because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs to fund for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIP, that in 2-3 years, the enterprises will still be operational, and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start their production and going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected, and then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that come in with those proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UWI who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
Hi, my name is Diane Plummer, and I'm the Managing Director for Your True Shade. So the program that I participated in was Creating Wealth, and it would give viewers an idea of the different processes in Your True Shade, taking the products from the raw materials to the production and then finally to the consumer. Being on Business Access TV has definitely impacted my business, because since the feature was aired, I got a lot of calls asking about the products, where they can get products, and asking additional information as well. Another thing that I did was to actually link the video to my social media posts so that persons can actually learn more about the brand. So for persons considering BATV, I would definitely recommend it, because you will definitely see the payoff for it. Persons will definitely be interested in finding out more about you as well as your brand.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Hey, what up, you guys? It's your girl, Vivica Fox, and you are watching Business Access.
It goes
goes by many names: marijuana, ganja, cannabis, or kush, just to name a few. But whatever you call it, people will immediately know what plant you speak of.
One step in I don't.
The Good Life this week takes you to the Stepping High Ganja Festival in Negril.
You know that Jamaica have a very long history of ganja, long before what people actually popularized today. You know, for example, people argue that ganja came across with Indians and came over as indentured laborers, see? So hence the word of indica and ganja from river Ganges. However, ganja has always been here, so you have to use a different kind of lens, meaning now, if you review work by like Van Sertima, they came before Columbus. People always coming to the Caribbean long before Columbus, and Jamaica was always a central space. It was a very important navigational space today. And from pirate time, it was also a very important navigational space. That's why we have the first navigational school in Jamaica by the Caribbean Maritime Institute. Now, what's the point I'm making there? The point I'm making is because ganja was such a traded thing across the world. Across the world. However, it became more recognizable and popular when people started to come here as enslaved persons and also as indentured laborers, because both of those persons were actually using the plant. So there's always an integration with herb and agriculture. But over time, as they start to make herb become more criminal, which means that the state started to lock up people more in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, you know, the whole thing, it kind of shifts. You know, so you find out that while we were still planting herb, we know if we practice some integrated farming, not because we just know that integrated farming is what you should do. We have the integrated farming for hide the herb. So I would plant herb and I plant gungo peas or I plant okra on it, because if you look from overhead and the herb that the gungo peas and the okra, it don't look so obvious. Now the ganja farmer is the only man in Jamaica who was practicing those things, you know. By what? Out of necessity. So as Rastafari start to use more herb, you have more fight taking place against the herb. So it is a thing where the history has been whereby the farmer structure is anti-herb, not because they're anti-a-plant, but because they're anti-a-mindset. But because Rastafari use a lot of herb now, and herb stimulate certain parts of your brain, and people know that your body is designed with what we call an endocannabinoid system, you know, from your head to your toe. And the parts of your body that have the most of those receptors is what your liver and your brain, especially when part of the rhinocephalus and the ancient part of your brain and the central part of your brain as well, the part that deal with this feel-good, esoteric kind of vibes and things, you know what I mean? And that is what drives and supports a lot of the way Rastafari people think. Hence the concept of being airy and the concept of being of one love and being with nature and all those things. That is not the Rasta people alone. The same ancient Indian people who use herb, they don't do the same thing. The people who were Essenes, from which them say Yahusha come from, is the Jesus story. They are herb people. So them say them anoint him head with oil. Him 7th chakra, him crown chakra. Is herb them use, in that olive oil them use, is ganja oil them use. See? All these stories that people hear, ganja oil was a very important part of those processes for health and wellness and healing. So it's like it's just something where Rasta people come up with, like you have what you call a Columbus syndrome, you discover things that already exist. No. The thing is that Rastafari, we are way into this consciousness of this plant and uses it. And then using it also away other people. It's like you unlock your chakras or your DNA, so people start to remember these things and start to use the plant and actually feel a particular way about it. One of the first functions of ganja is to build your immune system against ultraviolet rays. So it means then that ganja is one of the plants that you use to what? Prevent most of the cancers, if not all of the cancers. So all the researchers show that ganja is good for cancer fighting its functions, such as THC. And they ask yourself, what is the leading killer of people in the world today? It's stress. Herb is a plant, THC in particular, it removes stress. It transforms energy from one negative way into an next positive. That's what it's about. It's not no new energy. You shift you focus and start to see things in a very different kind of way. So you don't see no problem, you know. You see, needs that are unsolved, which means that there are opportunities to solve those needs by doing what? Providing a good service. So the lens through which you see things becomes different. And unfortunately, within our own system, we have this big opportunity. But the lens through which we see it is the same old colonial lens. CDB is used to treat things that do with psychosis. That research came out of England. Yes? That's why there's a great demand for CDB herb in Europe, because the leading killer of people in Europe and America is now what? Dementia-related illnesses. Parkinson, Alzheimer's. That's M1, CDB, and not THC. You have CBN, which is to stimulate appetite. So people who have cancers and all of these other issues and eating disorders will want the CBN. But it's also good for all the olfactory senses, you know. Ears, nose, and throat. So everything you do with your lung, everything you do with your ears, everything in the nose and the throat, because it what? It opens up a thing. The plant itself, in terms of the seed, have two of the most important fatty acids for your brain, which is called linoleic and linoleic, in the 1-to-3 ratio, the exact ratio in your brain. The only other plant that comes close to that is linseed, which has now 1-to-4 ratio. Most of these problems that people have, the plant is good for it. Ask them which other plant your body is designed to use. You just ask them, which other plant your body developed themselves 50 million years ago. All beings on the earth develop an endocannabinoid system. Not man alone. Dog, puss, rat, bird, everything. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to really see what the research is saying. What the research is saying. It's good for everything. But it's now, we don't ready to own people's brain now. Especially people who are going to say mad people like Rasta. Or the Rasta by say, okay, herb is the healing of the nation, and herb is this. Or Tosh sing about it as a bush doctor and tell us, boy, it's good for this, and lawyers smoke it. Remember too, you know? Many places people use herb, and we don't just use ganja. We use different kind of herb. And this is part of the problem, because when them started to fight ganja, technically them started to fight every kind of natural consumption of other herbs as well. So a man have a headache, I don't want no rosemary, I don't want no almond leaf, because it's herbs, and you don't know how much you have to take and suppose it poison you. And you might take a Fensic, you know. And then give everybody the same prescription, 2 Fensic, but yes, all their structure different. So the same 2 Fensic for solve every problem for everybody. You have something in your stomach that want to clear out, you don't take no verb and no dark blood. You can take a leave. And then them announce by the TV, them have a call him back a leave, because kill off beer people are foreign. Foolishness.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to The Good Life, where we are exploring the benefits of ganja with Dr. Kadamawe Knife. He shares his knowledge based on extensive research on the plant and some of his opinions on Jamaica's response to the growing worldwide use of ganja.
We now learn that there's a high demand for CBD plants in the world, which is in the Euro-American world. And what we know is that we're focusing so much on that technically we start to make the part that we have the advantage in almost criminal. If you have a lot of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's in Europe, they want CDB in the herb. Now, if you understand the ganja plant, CDB is naturally, it don't occur in plants in a naturally high amount, you know. But it's still an amount that can treat some of those things. What they're doing now is to take the plant into the lab to create a plant that has high levels of CDB and low levels of THC. It is the first concern that we have with those kind of herbs and things. Nonetheless, I am saying if the plant itself can produce pharmaceutical products that can treat those things, well, they can do it. However, know that they must make concurrently. But the thing that not naturally happen in the country, but the thing that you try to promote. Jamaica is known internationally for what? Pharmaceuticals? No. We're known internationally for being a wellness space. So, if you ask a man, tell me some Jamaican word. All of the word relate to feeling good about yourself. Some man are going to say irie, some man say love. You must say all of these things because the country is known for wellness. And we'll see where it comes from. See, now if you listen to Ed Bartlett test, when they do the assessment of what words trigger people to come to Jamaica. Love, food and music. I can't say ganja tree, my minister. So we're not using that opportunity and so we have a win-win scenario where everybody can benefit, whether you are a foreign direct investor or a local person. See, at a macro or a micro level. We turn it to what we call a zero-sum game, which means that if some people are going to win, like the pharmaceutical people, it means that the people who do the things organically are going to lose. And that don't make no sense.
When it's green, you squeeze the juice from it, it's the best for eye. It's kill all cataract and everything.
Now, I argue that we need to standardize and regularize. It is much more difficult to standardize and regularize things for the pharmaceutical industry than it is for the food industry. And SRC and the Bureau of Standards are some master industries, some master institutions that can help us to standardize these things. See? So when we hear them argue about edibles, I know edibles is this and edibles is that. It shows you how almost backward the people can be. THC is amplified by heat. So therefore, if you cook herb, it magnifies the amount of THC that's within that thing that you eat. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there's a problem in using herb in the plant, in the food? No. It means then we can get a lot more from the same herb than we actually do now. When I say shift focus, when I say broaden your focus and don't be myopic in what you're doing. Don't be a copybugger. And the bigger part of the industry is the wellness part, it's not the pharmaceutical part. That is why we talk about functional food. We're not talking about nutraceuticals alone. Because they still want to make nutraceuticals sound like it's pharmaceuticals. It's like nutraceuticals is taking the active out of a plant, whether it be ganja, ginger, whatever. Functional food is using the actives in things for consumption. Which means then, I can make, and I like to use this example, I can make a chocolate from Highgate, which is a nice brand chocolate, and infuse it with something like a CBN, which is an active in ganja plant. See? Or THC, CBN because it stimulates appetite. So I target people who know they need to eat food but want something nice to take to eat food. People who have AIDS and cancer and anorexia. So you don't want to eat that chocolate because it really tastes good, but when you eat it now, that makes you want to eat other food as well. So you know, again, so you have to take a regular tablet. Or use THC with things like rosemary and almond leaf as what? Just as people buy St. John's wort to reduce stress. We use it that way there. Remove all of your stress. You can put it in anything. I can use the same starting from the ganja plant and make incense and create incense. And what is the beauty about this? You can do this at all 3 levels. It's the only plant you can do it at 3 levels now. And Jamaica, you can do it at the community level in terms of branding, the parish level, as well as the national level. Because if you understand ganja in Jamaica, people argue that Sunny Hill in St. Thomas is a place that plant good herb. But a man takes a Green Hill and Orange Hill plant good herb. A man takes a Bull Savannah plant good herb. Or Lucky Valley in St. Andrew plant good herb. Or the best herb usually planted in St. Andrew in the 1980s. So what I tell you? At different points in time, people say the best herb plant in different places in Jamaica, which means that the best herb plant in Jamaica, there's a people that think we can plant the best herb anywhere in Jamaica. Now, can you imagine the amount of branding that you can take, that you can use across the island? You have to realize what opportunities are. I'm not fighting a pharmaceutical now, but I tell you, look at what we can do with branding. Man is the only animal that cook food and eat. Rastafari is free meditation. Every man have a right to decide their own destiny, man. The person who can tell how to live is yourself. See? So I say, I don't want no food by the fire. Some don't do it. Rastafari says life. And so we find out when you put fire upon the food, you take out some of the life out of it. So you want to get the full life by food, eat it without putting fire upon it. But you still can't tell a man how to live, you know. So I'm going to tell you, what you know, you stop eating cooked food. You still have to work, and the ganja is one of the best things to eat. So with I know, it's sativa herb I promote. 6 to 9 months, ital herb. See, I'm going to take it serious because remember, the whole of my ample design to use herb, you know. So it means that you must put the best thing inside your system. So a long time herb, the Rasta plant is the best herb to use. All these things that them come up with, no, it's just like some of the food now. See, so a long time people usually eat free-range chicken. We take long and you put a nail in the pot themselves to cook him. You don't want that now, you want a chicken, which is a baby chicken. We take 6 weeks, I end up with arsenic and all kinds of things, give people fibroids. They same with the herb. Them don't want a 6 to 9 month herb, so they start grow some short day herb, some short breed herb. 8 weeks. Where the man have to alter the seed to increase the amount of THC. Why? Because THC is stimulated by sunlight. So the longer the exposure of the plant in the sunlight is the more THC. So if you want to get the same amount of THC in a shorter period of time, you have to do? Change the structure of the plant. So indica is not the area plant to use, as far as I'm concerned. If you understand plant science, plants work in a holistic way. When you start to take on separate plants, it becomes less effective. When you steam the herb now, it goes into your lung directly, which means then, when your blood is passing through that vein, that is passes through your lung and it's being oxygenated, it takes up the herb immediately. So it's the fastest way of getting herb inside your system, you know. It's not an injection, because when you get an injection, it don't go in your vein directly, you know. It goes on your skin and try to find its way into your vein. So the most effective way of getting herb into your system quickly, and another way that is at the least amount of carbon, as far as I'm concerned, is through steaming. But the argument about smoking herb can kill a problem. No man, that's just something which is just false information. THC actually builds back the wall of your lung, repair the wall of your lung. So the concern about smoking can't that you're going to get sick from smoking herb. Just that the concern you say, okay, you don't want to put no more carbon inside of your system, which you don't need to. And so I ask people if you smoke a spliff every day, see? And how much spliff a day you smoke? I'm going to say 2 spliff or 3 spliff a day. But that's 365 times 2. That's almost 700 piece of paper you smoke for the year. So you really don't need to be smoking no paper. But you know, some people make hemp, Rizla. So all those things are there. Now, some people say the carbon might be the concern. My other concern about smoking is that it is not economical. Because when you go to light a spliff or light a chalice, most of the herb gone in the ear and less gone inside of you. So we don't smoke no herb, we just steam the herb. See, and it's not no magic we are doing, you know. A long time people do that, man. It's like when you bake pudding and put the fire up on top of it. See? So you have something that separates the fire from the herb. And when you pull it, the heat from it passes through the herb. It cools down the water and condenses. It's aromatherapy. You can use it with any plant you want. Now, that is more efficient. There's almost 0 carbon because anything that comes through is captured in the water. This is what a long time bingy man them usually, you know. Now, when you eat herb, it goes on your digestive system and takes a longer time to start to break down, but it stays longer in your system now. Because it starts to release more slowly. That's why when people cook herb and it's in your gut for a long while, it release slowly, so you feel that kind of feeling for a much longer period of time. You know, say a man who smoke herb don't like smoke herb in a public space. Him like going down space, him have him creating more space. And naturally we know that. We don't want no cigarette smoking, we don't want no jerk pan smoking, we don't want no car smoking, and we don't want no herb smoking in no public space. Because people respond different to those things and things still, see? So, we don't want no designated smoking area either. Yeah, we don't want that. I mean, because the attempt says that, say, if you think that smoking is bad, why you designate place for them to smoke? You've been a hypocrite. Go find somewhere by yourself. Go smoke if you want. Don't create a nuisance for people. And things still. You see how? In a private space, you do what you want to do.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to The Good Life. We wrap things up with Dr. Kadamawe Knife as he shares his concerns with the current state of the industry and gives his final thoughts on what he believes could promote and grow the industry in Jamaica and, by extension, the Caribbean.
I will argue that imported bad food and lifestyle practices kill more people in Jamaica than gunshot. Less than 3,000 people dead last year from gunshot. And in 2016, more than 15,000 people dead from diabetes alone. 15,000 people, I mean, not talk high blood pressure and heart disease yet. I mean, there's no big strategy as to how we are going to halt that. But do appreciate some years, some of the things I say, boy, drink more water and less sugar, because way. So I see them talk some things. But I say, you saw there was a big strategy to fight crime and lack of people. But there's no big strategy now to fight down the crime and now we are killing people, which is through food. Now the point we're making though is that if we start to do ganja as agriculture and use it as a catalyst, we start get people starting with ganja with health and wellness and agriculture that kind of way, you start to address not only economic issues but health issues as well. Because if you are plant food and plant clean food, the people must get less sick. Must. We should say, okay, our focus on building out what we have, which is and them disrespectful, but I call it recreational. We have the wellness part of the industry, the ganja industry. And we're going to expand it to facilitate the pharmaceutical component. So those who want to do the pharmaceuticals can do it, but we are going to focus our money and energy on the wellness component. So you're trying to take a lead in an area that you can't lead in, while neglecting the area that you already lead in. I'm telling you, any guy who come to this space will have a strong right as a bonus split. Right, that's how the same cool breeze we are distributing interview with. It's going to be one of the best experience. So burn a spliff and then go buy food from the people might eat. I tell you, I'm going to tell him grandparents about that story, you know. Say about telling grandparents to take a ganja tablet. That's just a story. There's medication they're taking, man. Enough name out there here. Them like to categorize them as skunk and kush. We have about 20 different skunk names or 20 different kush names. What we want to grow is a particular strain of herb, which is a sativa. So you have the broad categories of sativa and indica. We are promoting sativa herb, the 6 to 9 months herb. Ital, that means you don't put anything on it that come from animal, it's plant alone grow it. That's how to promote it. See? Now, Jamaica have things like them called goat shit and lamb's bread and all different kind of herb names that are sativa herb as well, thyme herb. But those were destroyed. The same thing. Some seeds still exist, so we focus on getting those seeds. Now, nowadays, you have all kind of skunk herb because the license itself is prohibitive and shows that they don't really understand what they want to move. Because the licensing process is required because they're doing what? Pharmaceutical ganja. I've been doing pharmaceutical ganja because of the regulations for production. You have to get all of these things in place. So that is for one section of the economy. Now the part that we're speaking about the wellness doesn't require those things. So we'll argue. That's how we have a man with a bar who says that he might get the license at whatever. The same thing I do with the herb people who are involved in these kind of things at the community level. But I think it's important to regularize it. So I want the man within the community knows him have the best herbs I sell. I put them in jar and you know, make it iron and official. But no while like it's a hide thing you depend and then it's a hustling. No. Make people know it's free for you so you can do it properly, man. Because you know, Jamaican people like to present them thing properly too, you know. So don't make it look like it's a gym screechy thing. Give them the same kind of freedom. But say what you know, you have to have them standard there, you know. You can't sell the herb in a plastic bag because the herb eat up in the plastic bag, put in a glass jars. And put in a dark glass jar because it make the herb stay long and you know, show them how to do it properly and thing. Now when you check it now, $10,000 for a distribution of what? 10,000 US, you know, not 10,000 Jamaican. The prices are not even quoted in Jamaica, them quoted in US, so it's can't be your target. So it's a different kind of thinking surrounding that component. And that's what I'm saying with the dual space. You have to have your pharmaceutical space, you put those restrictions here. But the wellness part that relates to Jamaica, you don't put those restrictions, but you put standards and quality control. So who knows if you have an edible, we know say the Bureau of Standard Pass and SRC help you the formulation for you know say alright you have the right amount of things inside there. Get rather the strength now for coming through the marketing and them home economics thing, for come show them how to do the thing using the standards. You know? Make it happen properly. Herb, like we call high altitude and long exposure to sunlight. Jamaica have over 10 hours of sunlight, we have high altitude with a volcanic space. Remember, so we call it volcanic because it means they have a lot more minerals in our earth than places that are not volcanic. Because when you have volcano, we do carry precious minerals from the core come up to the surface. So these are just good earth we have now. We have enough gold and diamond in Jamaica, enough crystals because we're volcanic. It means then that because we have the high altitude and long exposure, our ganja, once it is exposed to the sun, it's going to be much, much better. But across the Caribbean, while they might not be like Jamaica, but you have places that can do similar things. St. Lucia, which is mountainous. Dominica, which is mountainous. Haiti, which was mountainous, would have been good places to plant. Herb again, highs of THC. Montserrat might be good to plant. Definitely good to plant herb with high THC because it's also mountainous and also have good exposure to sunlight. Barbados, Cayman, Antigua, which are flat places, might be better to actually plant herb to get seed as food or forget fiber. Now they could have plant hemp though, you know. You know what I mean? Because them flats of them THC level not gonna be too high. A place like Guyana, Belize, Suriname can look at planting the industrial plant which is hemp. So the mountainous places plant the female and the flat places plant the semi-male female and the mainland places plant the male which is the hemp. So the region itself can control the entire value chain of the industry from both male and female. The Caribbean. Well, remember that Jamaica is in the Caribbean, because Jamaica is the only real Caribbean country. You know? We're at the center of the Caribbean, there's a certain level of magnetism in the earth, and the earth is electrical and magnetic, it's bioelectrical and magnetic. So you can't underplay the importance of those magnetic currents that surround the earth with all those things happening and things still. So you see that I'm not on ganja alone, I mean all our food. The food levels, the taste, it's like it accentuates. And you know, the research that up here showed that Jamaica have higher levels of heavy metal in them earth though, which was a concern. But we realized that when you put in the water, the heavy metal dissipates. This is not a problem anymore. So remember, this is a good life, and it's important for people know that you only have one life to live. See? So you have to live healthy. Do the thing that you know is right. Be serious about it, man. Live well and live the good life, you know?
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
The process of embalming has deep historic roots, being practiced since ancient Egypt, if not before. It was a complex 70-day process and was done to prepare loved ones for the afterlife. It wasn't until the American Civil War in the 1860s that a more sophisticated method of embalming was developed to facilitate the transport of dead soldiers by their families. This new method was less complex and time-consuming. In Jamaica today, embalming is a widely accepted method of preserving bodies. But who's willing to deal with the dead? We explore the business of embalming when we visit Lynn's Funeral Home on this episode of Career Moves.
I'm Dane Chuck. I'm the embalmer at Lynn's Funeral Home, also the manager, one of the managers here. We're located in Mandeville, which is 1 Richmond Crescent. Embalming is the preserving of human remains for viewing at a later date. It started from the Egyptians and it improved over the years, getting better and better and better and better. But it's the only way of preserving a person for viewing at a later date. If they store them in the fridge or the cooler, they'll start to change and deteriorate also. So embalming prevents the deterioration of the human remains. Embalming is worldwide, but depending on the religion, it's a bit different for some countries. It's a good thing to do. If you don't embalm a body, a lot of things can happen. The person can begin to decompose. That includes like the body starting to strip, the skin strips off, worms, maggots, and just deterioration of the body in general. Features change, smells, stuff like that. Embalming can preserve the body for many years. We have a case here. She's been here about, I think, 20 years. She's been embalmed. We keep her in storage. It just depends on the humidity and also just how it's done. Because with embalming, you have different chemical strengths. It's rated in indexes, from like 10 index up to 36 index. So depending on the strength you use, shows the result that you can get. Like the stronger the fluid, the more firm the person can be, and the longer the person actually lasts. If you use a fluid not as strong, the person will have more of a lifelike feel, but then they tend to deteriorate faster. In Jamaica, people keep the remains for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. So we use a stronger fluid to get the person more preserved. I use a medium to strong embalming fluid strength. That way it preserves the person, whether they're coming in 2 weeks or 2 months. In the funeral industry, people get cremated, where they don't have to be embalmed first. But there's no really other alternative. People used to keep cases on the fridge, what they call the fridge, for a while, and then they view them in the casket afterwards. But they would tend to defrost in the casket.
You heard about the service, now find out how it's really done.
When the person comes in, we give them a proper bath. We wash them, proper bath, a shave, everything, wash their hair, the whole 9 yards. And a lot of them haven't gotten a proper bath in a long time. After we clean the body, we look at the entire body, evaluate the person, look at the arms, the legs, the torso, check for any abrasions or leakages or stuff like that, right? Then we begin. We begin by looking for the arteries. How embalming works, you locate the main arteries, you embalm through the arteries, and that builds up a pressure in the body, and it pumps the blood out through the vein. So while you're going in with the embalming fluid, you're pushing the blood out at the same time. Your body is like a highway. The arteries and your veins is like a highway in your body. And if there is a blockage or breakage somewhere, that part of the body will not be embalmed. But then we have other ways of embalming that part of the body that didn't get embalmed. In embalming, you can tell where it's embalmed, so you know exactly where to put extra effort to if needs be. 6-point injection and single point. 6 points when you inject each limb separately. So you lift the femorals and the carotids, brachial arteries, and so forth. It depends on each case. A single point injection is when you lift the carotid artery, or you lift one artery and one vein. Other tools you have to use. Here are some of the tools we use in embalming. The first one is this device here. It's a mouth former. How this is used, you put this in the deceased person's mouth and it creates the illusion that the mouth is formed properly. This is highly effective on older folks who don't have the teeth or who wear dentures and haven't worn them in a while, so the mouth closure is changed. This allows the mouth to be closed properly and to give that look that it's properly closed. Here's an example of a makeup that we use. It's different from regular cosmetic makeup. It reacts with the dead skin other than living skin. This is what we call a button. We use this to seal up small holes. Basically, we remove excess water from the body. This is a suture needle. We use it to sew up after we finish embalming and to sew up small cuts or bruises. It depends on what we have to do. These two here are aneurysm hooks. How these are used, you use both of them at the same time to tear the skin apart, and then you use these to divide the tissue from the muscles and locate the arteries and the veins. Then you use one to bring the artery up to the surface and you push it under it. Then the artery sits right here on this piece here. Now, when the artery sits here, you take a scalpel blade with a handle. The blade is inside this, but I can't take it out. So you take the blade to cut the artery open, and then you insert this device. This is called an injector or a cannula. This is attached to the machine, the embalm machine, where the fluid runs into the artery via this tube.
Is it something that people go look and say, hey, let's work with the dead? I don't think it's like a popular career move or option.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
I don't see anything wrong with it, as long as the money is okay and you're comfortable with it.
I actually would, because I find it interesting and it's also a challenging job. The brave ones can go ahead and do it.
I think it's important because if nobody does it, then how's it going to get done?
It's not really my thing, but if I know say good money in it.
Even if it pays a lot, there are people who have stigmas concerning the dead.
Me for the dead people.
Yeah, they make enough money and them rich. Me not depend on one. No.
Of course I would want a career in embalming. Remember, first of all, there's not a lot of people here in Jamaica that supports embalming. Not a lot of people even like the career, actually.
Is it something that people go look and say, hey, let's work with the dead? I don't think it's like a popular career move or option.
Sure. There's not many persons who is into that field, and it's a money-making business, whereas people dead every day.
Any weird money, that's where I am.
They have to be very strong to do something like that, because not a lot of persons can stand up over a dead body.
The rate of death is very high in Jamaica, and getting an environment like that, it will be actually good. I'll probably make millions every year.
balm you dead good and dress you dead good and make up her face. If she even get a bus here, so you see when she come to church, she pretty. Yeah.
My name is Calvin Lynn, Chairman of the Board of Directors, Lynn's Funeral Home Limited. The establishment started operating in March of 1974. My wife and I, principal operators, started there and seeing the need to improve the service. Mrs. Lynn went abroad and did the embalming course. She returned in 1976 and we publicized the importance of having the human remains embalmed. It's a dignified profession. You know that, for instance, to apply for a job, whatever area, they're going to ask you what level of certification you have. To know that as the pioneers in this business, Lynn's not really funeral industry, we are satisfied that yes, our daughter has followed in our footsteps. And we did not have to bend our arm. And then no, her son eventually said, all right, to leave for college, he would do mortuary science. I said, mortuary science, how come?
As a kid, I grew up in a funeral home. So I grew up seeing dead people, caskets, urns, hearses. So it was a part of me. I have no fear of it. I mean, I can do it without thinking. So like, I just can do it.
There is no school for mortuary science in Jamaica at the moment, but that has never deterred persons who desire to become certified embalmers.
I went to Miami-Dade, which is in Florida. The course took me 3 years, where I did written work and practical experiences and work and so forth. It's a very hard course. It's not very easy, and it can be expensive. I don't know what the rate is now, but it's per credit, and in the course is 72 credits. I normally call this charge per credit. But it took me 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, I take a final exam, which consists of everything I learned over that 3-year period. In Miami-Dade, you get an associate in science degree. But in some colleges, depending on where you go, they offer it in bachelor's. It's the same degree you get, basically. So when you go to colleges for the US, they start from scratch. They give you an entrance test, and they see what you can do, and they base you off there. Mortuary classes, they're all mortuary courses. So they're all individual courses. So basically, whatever you took before, even if you took all the sciences, it can on the regular science courses. I took psychology and thanatology and chemistry, but then from an angle of how it works in a deceased person's case. The psychology class basically taught me how to talk to people who are grieving. Like, you wouldn't say good morning, because obviously it's not a good morning when my mother is dead. So you have to be careful the word you use. There are not many schools that offer this program. So you have 20 schools in Florida, probably one may offer it. It's not a very common degree. And when I was there, all my classes were early in the morning or late at evening. Training was quite easy, since I am third generation in this business, so I had a little bit of a jump start. In college, they taught us the basics and little tricks, but when you get into the field, that's when you really learn.
After 3 years of training, embalmers may recognize that their responsibility in dealing with the dead can often go beyond how much they can earn.
It can pay very well depending on how you are and how good you are at what you do. Because first of all, to start a funeral home, you have to have a hearse. Hearses are very expensive to purchase. They can range from 40,000 US up to 100,000 of US dollars for a hearse. And then with our Jamaica system, we buy a vehicle for 50,000 US. You have to then pay duty and shipping and taxes, another 50,000 US to bring it in basically. And that's only one hearse. Then your equipment, everything has to be imported. We have to import all our materials. The machines, the chemicals, the tools, everything is imported. It's a very high startup cost. Very, very, very high. Because there's the other aspect of it called restorative art. That is what people in the US will pay a lot for compared to out here. Restorative art is the ability to restore facial features. Like someone's missing an eye, missing a part of their lip, their side of their face is gone, or an ear is gone, even eyelashes, eyebrows. It's a very dangerous and very risky job. Because I'll give you a scenario. So say I'm working on a case that has HIV and I get pricked by that needle. I will probably have HIV also. A lot of the more dangerous diseases are not really here. They're not really as common. But it's still a high risk because you're working with body fluids. So it's just as dangerous as having like unprotected sex-based contact with a stranger. We practice universal precautions, so we treat every case like they have some contagious disease. All my staff wear double gloves, aprons, face masks, the whole 9 yards, because you will never know. And the other clients that come in and say that, I want a box. Just give me the cheapest box you have for him.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Embalming might be an unusual career, but because it's necessary, people will accept that someone has to do it.
I believe that there's a high need for embalmers in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. Some Caribbean countries only have one embalmer for the entire island. We also receive cases from different countries like Barbados, Trinidad. I even export cases out to the United States, to Canada, to UK. We sent a case one time to India. People in Jamaica don't really regard the deceased that much, especially in government. It's not a problem they have to think about. Because Caribbean islands just don't have that view of the deceased in that way. Basically, from one angle, they don't really have a concern about how people are buried in Jamaica. But it's a health risk. So to me, it falls under Ministry of Health. They should really get something involved, something done to regulate it. That way you have things being done properly. I mean, when I was in training, they had a thing called formaldehyde exposure level. Formaldehyde is one of the main ingredients that's used to preserve a body. The health department would come to a funeral home and test the air. If the formaldehyde level is too high in the air, they would close the funeral home down. That does not exist out here.
A career in embalming is not without challenges, but for those who love it, money can't buy the satisfaction they get from a job well done.
The challenges I face are a lot, but I overcome them by just doing the best I can do for each person. That's all I can do. I mean, I will work on a person for hours, and we don't charge any extra for it. I mean, whatever it takes to get the person looking presentable, we will do it. Because in this field, you can only bury somebody once. So if you make a mess of the person's funeral, it's spoiled for life. So you have to plan everything, every last detail down.
On Richmond Crescent, right, Mandeville.
Sometimes the families, they can be a bit difficult because they're grieving, so you sort of have to work with them to a point, and also dealing with other funeral homes. Some of them are really nasty, and they try to overcharge people for a service that they know nothing of. Jamaicans tend to be more raw, more aggressive, and more price driven on what they want. So I've had customers come in and say, okay, I want everything to cost me $200. I want to give them whatever it takes to get it under $200, and that is it. And you have the other clients that come in and say that I want a box. Just give me the cheapest box you have for him, and that is it. Then you have other clients that come in and say that I want the best of the best. Everyone's view of the deceased is different. Some people's view is that it's like basically he's already died, so who cares? And some people's view is that he was my father, I have to take care of him well. But from the government angle now, I think that they should probably try to regulate it somehow. Other Caribbean islands have the same issue. Funeral industry is just unregulated. Like how you have a board that governs pharmacists and doctors, there's nothing governing in Bahamas. I've heard stories of funeral homes storing people, storing caskets at their house, storing human remains in a freezer. I've heard of people cutting two freezers and joining them together to make a cold storage. And what happened now, the human body is like a piece of meat basically. So it can get freezer burn. So if it's too cold, they burn, just like meat. And if it's not cold enough, they decompose. So the government needs to come in and regulate it in terms of chemicals, hygiene, safety precautions, the whole 9 yards. I like the business, and it's interesting. Sad to say, in Jamaica, you hear a lot of drama in funeral homes with hearsay, gossip, this person want this person want that, and it gets very complicated. Okay, I had a case last week where this gentleman said their family has a tradition where they must be buried with a nappy on and an elastic band. I have no idea why. I said, okay, fine, I will do it. I did it. Also, people tend to cut out the pockets of the deceased. Cut out the pockets, put stones in them, or put stones in them clothes or money, I don't know why. And the other weird one I've had, and I did not understand that one, and I tried to tell look, I'm not doing that. They wanted me to push needles up on her heel, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not pushing needles up someone's heel. I don't like that part of it. I like the idea of I can do a service, it makes people happy. It takes somebody from grieving to actually feeling better, but they're still grieving. I'd rather work with the deceased than work with the living. The deceased, they don't talk, they do what you're doing, and that is it. I'm there, and I do my work. When I go to social and people ask me what I do and I tell them, it's like, they stop for a second, I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. I mean, when I was in school, in college, people were like they asked me a weird question like, what's it like? Like, I had more people more interested than uninterested because of what I do. It's fulfilling, it's hard work. I mean, I work 6 to 7 days a week. I don't get much free time like a standard job. So I'm kind of always here. My advice to people who want to get into this field is to go away, get trained, get qualified, because one day, I mean, right now there's no law for it in Jamaica, there's no training in Jamaica, but one day Jamaica will get there, one day, hopefully. And when it gets there, a lot of funeral homes that are around, they may eventually close down.
Our service has been accepted by the public to know that they will carry on, and they're here with us now. So of course, people have been saying, well, your daughter is so-and-so, your grandson is so-and-so, and they're measuring up. And we're satisfied that what they're doing, is the right thing to keep the client, customer, relatives satisfied.
I like being here. Yeah. No career move, I'm stuck here. The only problem I have, when I die, who's gonna bury me?
The Caribbean is a rich biodiversity hotspot. It has over 11,000 plant species, and about 72 of these are found only in this region. This richness also extends to the Caribbean people. Their traditional knowledge of the region's varied natural resources has integrated nature into the economic and health sectors worldwide. It has also drawn many to research and use the region's biodiversity for medicinal, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical purposes. For example, the glaucoma medication Canasol is made from cannabis. However, Caribbean islands have fallen prey to biopiracy, where a country's resources are accessed and developed commercially, but the country gets little or no benefit from it. As the world benefits from the Caribbean's biodiversity, countries need to be compensated for their commercial use. Lawmakers need to ensure that their countries are legally prepared to give access to and benefits from commercial use of genetic resources. To ensure prior informed consent and mutually agreed terms of access established by the Nagoya Protocol, the Global Environment Facility, GEF, United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, are jointly providing support to countries at different levels in order to advance towards functional access and benefit sharing. Under the Nagoya Protocol, countries from which natural resources are obtained for commercial developments are entitled to compensation. It also ensures indigenous knowledge from groups such as the Maroons, Rastafarians, and Amerindians can be credited and compensated if their traditional knowledge has been used for commercial purposes. Caribbean islands are putting the Nagoya Protocol in their legislative framework to safeguard their country's biodiversity and traditional knowledge. Let us all work together to protect our resources, do valuable research, and reap the benefits of sustainable bioprospecting in the region.
Violence against women